What have you always wanted to know about Boise State Public Radio? Join us for another round Wednesday, March 19th at Mad Swede Brew Hall in downtown Boise from 6 to 8 p.m. Learn more about our operations, news content, and our service mission. We welcome your questions and look forward to sharing more about what we do here at Boise State Public Radio. More details can be found on our website at boisestatepublicradio.org.
More Idaho Matters now from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Cadet. The country of Rwanda is still recovering from the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The country is going through a period of healing and recovery while rebuilding the social and political systems that collapsed during that period. Dr. Arthur Asimwe is the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of Rwanda in Washington, D.C., and he is coming to Boise at the invitation of the Boise Committee on Foreign Relations. The committee's primary goal is to advance dialogue on foreign relations, and Dr. Asimwe will be at their March 25th meeting in Boise. But before he became deputy ambassador, he wore a variety of hats, including chairing the Africa Union of Broadcasters and working as a correspondent for Reuters. And he's joining us now to talk more about this. Welcome to our program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about Rwanda? If you were going to describe your country to someone who has never been there, what would you tell them?
I would say that Rwanda is a country of miracles. As you rightly said, Rwanda went through a terrible history in 1994 when we had a genocide against the Tutsi. Almost 1 million people were killed. And that was 30 years ago. But over this period of 30 years, we have rebuilt our country under a very good governance and a very good leadership, and put in place all the basic infrastructure, basic social needs, and moved the journey of socioeconomic transformation and built one of the countries that is now, quoted as a beacon of hope on the African continent. Rwanda, as you read or in different forums, is now almost the most secure country on the continent, the most progressive country on the continent in terms of economic development, vibrant tourism industry, vibrant youth. Basically, a country that gives hope for the future. So Rwanda, despite what we went through 30 years ago, we've put our past behind us, and have been able to build a country that is, founded on the pillars of good governance, on the pillars of accountability, on the pillars of the unity of Rwandans, and on the pillars of thinking big as a nation.
One of the things you'll be talking about during your visit to Boise is Africa-U.S. relations with a focus on Rwanda. Can you give us a little bit of a preview of what you'll be talking about?
Yeah, I'll be sharing the story of how the U.S. has been a very good partner for us in the construction of our country, Rwanda. I will share with you the partnerships that the U.S. government has had with us over these past 30 years in the areas of health. It has been very instrumental in supporting our health infrastructure, but also in supporting us fighting infectious diseases such as HIV and AIDS, and even today some non-communicable diseases like cancers. So the U.S. has been a very strong partner in us. But I'll also tell you a story of how the U.S. has been now a very strong partner in building our tech industry, as well as initiatives in the education sector, but also in some new areas like space industry, where we're having some excellent collaboration. But more important is the journey that we have walked together under this partnership between the U.S. and Rwanda, and which has been extremely positive, and which has been instrumental in rebuilding our nation.
Tell us a little bit about what you do as deputy ambassador.
Essentially, I think as a deputy ambassador, I do three core things. One, I, of course, deputize the ambassador in whenever duties, whenever she's not available for duties, I step into her shoes. So, becoming like, the number one assistant of the ambassador, but also coordinate the operations of the embassy, coordinating the departments that we have, We have a department in charge of the diaspora community. We have a department in charge of education. We have a commercial department, and different. We have a political department that deals with Congress and the administration. So connecting all those entities falls under my responsibility. But also, looking at once in a while the kind of content that the embassy is churning out, because the embassy also does a lot of communication. But so all these different engagements that the embassy does are coordinated by the deputy ambassador.
And along with your visit to the Boise Committee on Foreign Relations, you're going to be visiting the Anne Frank Human Rights Memorial. They'll be taking you on a tour of that. And at the memorial here in Boise, Rwanda is actually mentioned. So I'm curious about what you're looking forward to your visit when you come to Boise and Idaho.
Oh yes, I'm excited to be in Boise. I'm excited to be in Idaho. Be excited to visit the memorial because like you said very well, Rwanda went through the worst form of human rights violations when we had a genocide 30 years ago, and so that human suffering that we went through, and the kind of slaughter that we saw. I want to come and learn lessons of how people have valued humanity, how you value humanity, and how human rights issues can be put at the forefront of humanity. But also, I'll be happy to share the story of Rwanda, despite what happened 30 years ago. We've emerged as a country that has put the respect of all people's rights at the forefront of everything, and of course, learning the experience from the great state of Idaho.
And you'll also be meeting with some college students when you are here on your visit. Why is it important to you to have this kind of outreach, in particular to young adults?
I mean, the young adults, like they say, are the future of tomorrow. Our job as diplomats, but more important, as a young country like Rwanda, it's important to create a pool of friends. I would want to interest the young generation to understand Africa. Africa is quite alien to most of the Americans. So I would want to share with them a story about Africa and how Africa is merging, and how a country like Rwanda is a very good front for the American people to understand Africa. If you want to understand Africa, Rwanda will be a very good gateway for you onto the continent and learning more. And of course, the young generations are the future of tomorrow, and it's important for us to make sure they understand everything about our continent, everything about my country, so that as we create this pool of friends, we're able to even say, okay, these are friends that we can count on tomorrow, but also be able to even visit our country and see the changes themselves. So it's always exciting and always important to share some of these stories with the young generations, because they're the people that are here tomorrow once we're not there anymore.
I have about 1 minute left with you. What is the one thing you would like people to know about Rwanda today?
Rwanda is a country that has come from a terrible history, but it's a country that has fought against all odds to build a cohesive society at peace with each other, and a country that is looking for friends. And I'll be in Idaho to pick on new friends for our country.
I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. We've been speaking with Dr. Arthur Asimwe. He is the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of Rwanda in Washington, D.C. He is coming to Boise at the invitation of the Boise Committee on Foreign Relations for their March 25th meeting in Boise. It is open to the public, but you do have to register, and registration does close soon. So if you are interested, make sure you go to our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. We will, of course, put a link to the event on our website so that you can register there. You've been listening to Idaho Matters from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Gemma Gaudet.